At this time, I'm going to invite down Bob and Ann Dean to spend a couple of minutes with us. Why don't you come this way? The cord is only so long this morning. Beautiful. You're good right here. Bob,
we'll wrap around
you can wrap around me. Friends, some of you don't know Bob and Ann. Turn around so everybody can see. Bob and Ann typically.
Hi, Bob, she's Ann.
This is Bob, she's Ann. Bob and Ann typically attend the other worship service at 10:45 where they sing in the choir, and we're so glad that you do. Now, tell us something about yourself. Let me just start with you, Ann. Where were you born, and how did you end up in Indiana?
I was born in Larchmont, New York, which is a suburb of New York City, and brought up 2 children, and, well, first I got to meet him.
You got to meet him.
Yeah, well, I went to Northfield School for Girls, which is founded by D.L. Moody, the evangelist, and when I graduated, I came back to New York, and I loved singing, so I sang in the Episcopal Church for a while, and then I sang in the Presbyterian Church, which was great because that's where I met him. Mm-hmm. And
then you saw the light, and you came to Methodist Church. I understand how that is. Yeah, that's
my mother's family were all Methodists. My father's family were all Scottish Presbyterians. But anyway, so there was a group in the church called the Midlers, and they were post-college and before marriage.
Okay.
And so they said, "Hey, why don't you take the late train with us?" Because I always took the early train to New York. So I did. And got to the platform, and there was this guy standing there. And I said, "I'm going to marry him." So 66 years from then, here we are.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I think it may last.
So Bob, were you first of all, were you starstruck with her from the very beginning?
Well, I really didn't even see her over there. But I finally, I woke up, I guess, finally. And it takes a while.
Yeah.
The brain sometimes doesn't work all that good.
Yeah, I do understand.
But eventually I saw the light, and it was a beautiful light. And it has been a light ever since.
Yeah, good.
And here we are, 66 years later.
Yeah, good for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, tell us, what did you do for a living? What was your
I was an
profession?
engineer for Sperry Systems Management on Long Island, New York.
All right.
You have to pronounce it properly when you go
Right,
there.
right.
And then I went into the service, and then came back, and then I worked for the Aluminum Company of America.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we met, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Here we are.
And it was so good to just come out here. May I say, this is a wonderful place. When we came out here, I think that was the best step we've taken in our lives.
Wow. That's terrific. Thank you so much.
And we love you all.
So how did you find this church? Let's just say that for a minute. And then once you found it, what kept you here?
Well, first of all, we sent our kids to Ball State, and they never came home.
Oh, yeah.
So we decided when Bob retired, we were able to come out for 3 months and then 6 months. Finally, 5 years ago, we sold our place in the Berkshires, and we're here. And when we first got here, we went to Second Pres, and Dr. Enright was lovely, but nobody else spoke to us. And then we went to St. Luke's, and Kent Millard was lovely, but nobody spoke to us except one lady who worked for a retirement home, and she wanted us to sign up. So the third year, we thought, why don't we try that new Methodist church in Zionsville?
God was leading us here.
You bet.
I really feel God led us here.
So what's the blessing for you been in this place then?
Well, in the first place, we got here, and Jim Marshall was the usher. Maybe people know him. And he squealed to Betsy Depkin that we were from Massachusetts. So she came flying into the pew. "Oh, my goodness, I can't believe it." So then she introduced us to Tony, and 2 weeks later, we were in the choir.
Okay, yeah, that's how that works. Well, Well, I'm glad you found this to be a warm and friendly place. I know people at both those other churches who are very warm and friendly, so I don't know what happened those days, but I'm glad that you're here. Let me just say
we're in
that.
small groups, and I think that's the secret too.
Well, say a little bit more about
Koinonia, we're in the Koinonia group, and we're in the Lift group. I think the Lift group, Megan, is she in here today?
I don't know.
Megan's away.
Yeah.
Megan.
Okay, but she's in your group.
Oh, she's the head of it. Oh,
Okay.
she is good.
So your faith, you've been married a long time, but your faith is even longer than that. Where did it come from? Where did it come from for you, Bob?
Well, for me, it started, I guess, when I was very early in my life. I have a grandmother, we called her Graham, and every summer we would go to Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire, and they have an Advent Christian campground where she had a cottage. And so every Sunday I would go with her to the Advent Christian. Incidentally, it isn't called a church, it's called a tabernacle.
Okay.
How about that?
That's a good word.
Yeah, and so I learned a lot of good things from my grandmother.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right. Where were your roots from?
Well, I was first brought up as a Christian Scientist.
Okay.
And then when I went away to school, I saw how the other half lived, and I loved all the service and the choir, everything to do with it. I just loved it. And took 3 years of Bible, and
She's the one who knows all the good stuff.
So was there any point in your life where you really needed your faith to sustain you? I mean, you can't have lived all these years without a few hard moments, and maybe some of them you don't want to share. But was there a time that it was very important to you to have your faith?
oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I had migraines for 15 years, and breast lumps, and which thank God were benign. But and poor Bob, I'm going to the hospital.
Well, I say that all the time, but you got more information than I do, yeah.
But no, my faith has just been tremendous. Tremendous.
And my faith is with her. As she has found the faith, I have found it with her. I think together we make a team.
Yeah. So for any young people who might be out here, like maybe they're 75 or 80,
Yeah, those young kids.
do you have any words of wisdom that you would just offer about life or about faith or about anything? Either one.
Marry the right person.
Marry the right person. That's good.
Well, every morning we say prayers for all sorts of people, and I think staying in touch with God is good.
Yeah.
And coming here because we love all the people here and also the preachers too.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, well, on that high note, we're awfully glad you came and gave witness to us about your life and about your faith. We're so glad you're part of this family, and we're glad that the Lord brought you here. Friends, Bob and Ann Dean, thank you for coming.